One night, Theodora was dancing on stage. In the grand hall, aristocrats watched her with disdainful eyes. Some mocked, others were entertained. But she was just a young woman struggling to survive amidst the dust of the stage. No one knew it yet, but the story that began on this small stage would turn into a love that would change the fate of the Byzantine Empire. At the same time, young Justinian was a man of ambition, trying to rise under the shadow of his uncle, Emperor Justinian. He walked among the people, discussed laws, and worked to prove himself. He knew that one day he would become one of Byzantium's greatest rulers, but fate had yet to introduce him to Theodora. Theodora's father was an animal trainer. She and her family made a living through circus performances. But after her father died, everything changed. To survive, her mother and sisters turned to stage performances. However, in those days, for a woman to take the stage was not only associated with entertainment, but also meant being forced to sell her body. As Theodora tried to hold her ground in a man's world, she faced harsh realities. She struggled to survive while also discovering her own strength. Being on stage felt like a prison to her, yet it was the only way to stay alive. Justinian, though from a humble peasant family, caught the attention of his uncle, Emperor Justinian, with his intelligence and diligence. His legal expertise and military acumen made him a key figure in the future of Byzantium. He had grand plans for the empire and set his sights on the throne. Growing tired of the stage, Theodora became the mistress of a wealthy man and traveled east in hopes of a new beginning. However, things did not go as she had imagined. The treatment she received and the disappointments she endured forced her to return to Constantinople. There, she encountered monks and embarked on a journey of self-discovery. And at that moment, fate brought her and Justinian together. Justinian saw Theodora for the first time at a theater performance. That night, while the aristocrats watched the young woman with scorn, Justinian admired not only her beauty, but also her intelligence and presence. Her courage, wit, and unique perspective captivated him. Yet their love was impossible. Imperial laws strictly forbade a nobleman from marrying a stage performer. Justinian's aunt, Empress Euphemia, strongly opposed the relationship. She believed Theodora's past made her unfit for the palace. But Justinian refused to give up. Despite his aunt's pressures and the intrigues of the court, he fought to make their marriage a reality. Eventually, he persuaded his uncle, Emperor Justinian, to change the law, and the ban was lifted. Euphemia's sudden death removed the greatest obstacle in their path. Now, nothing could stop Justinian from marrying Theodora. Their love changed not only their lives, but also the fate of an entire empire. When Justinian ascended to the throne, Theodora became one of the most powerful women in Byzantium. But this power did not come easily. In the imperial court, she faced harsh opposition from the nobility and the Senate. Many judged her for her past, but Theodora, with her intelligence and determination, stood her ground. While some resented her, others deeply respected her. She was not just Justinian's wife. She was a leader who introduced reforms and changed the fate of the people. Amid court intrigues and political struggles, Justinian fought to protect Theodora from every attack and conspiracy. But Theodora, through every hardship, grew stronger. Within the palace walls, she transformed and became a ruler who left an indelible mark on Byzantine history. When the people revolted, Justinian considered fleeing. But Theodora stopped him with words that would go down in history. Purple is the noblest shroud. If we must die, let us die as emperors. Encouraged by her courage, Justinian took action to suppress the rebellion. The bloodiest uprising in Byzantine history was quelled thanks to Theodora's fearless resolve. Theodora became not only the Empress of Byzantium, but also the voice, strength, and hope of women. In a society where a woman having power was nearly impossible, she took bold steps to advocate for women's rights. As Empress, she enacted laws granting women property rights, the right to divorce, and social equality, transforming the status of women in Byzantium. However, these reforms made her a target. But Theodora never wavered. She stood by the people and the women who needed her. And now we come to the final chapter of this great love story. Over the years, Theodora fell ill. As her condition worsened, she began to fade away within the palace walls. For Justinian, this period was unbearably painful. The power he had gained over the years now felt meaningless. Yet even as she approached death, Theodora carried the strength of an empress, never severing her connection to her people. Every day, Justinian sat by Theodora's bedside, holding her hands and expressing his undying love for her. As Theodora lay her head on her pillow, each breath she took reminded him not only of their love, but also of the reforms they had enacted and the victories they had won together. With one final gaze into each other's eyes, they knew their love had changed all of Byzantium and made them legends. After Theodora's death, Justinian felt lost. He had not only lost his wife, but also his closest friend, his confidant, and his greatest advisor. That night, the palace felt emptier than ever. Without Theodora's leadership and courage, Justinian became increasingly lonely. Their great love gave way to solitude. For the rest of his life, Justinian longed for her last look, her last smile. As time passed, he honored her legacy by continuing the reforms she had initiated, protecting women's rights and preserving her devotion to the people. Theodora was more than just an empress. She was a great leader. Her legacy became a symbol of freedom and equality for women. Though Justinian spent years following her path and honoring her memory, Theodora's true legacy was not just in being Byzantium's most powerful woman, but in the courage and revolutionary changes she brought to the empire. After Theodora's passing, the people mourned her with tears, but remembered her with strength. Justinian, in the grand halls of the palace, paid tribute to the years they had shared, the years in which Theodora showed the world not just the power of a ruler, but the power of a woman. Theodora's mark on Byzantium was not just as an empress, but as a woman who reshaped history with love and bravery. Great love stories do not just change two people, they change entire histories.